very much in its blending and yielding principles. There's practicality to be found in all the martial arts, obviously, because the martial arts were designed and developed for a specific purpose, which was to defend oneself, to be able to respond to attacks, to respond to difficult situations, to respond against threats to one's life, threats to one's safety. The history of Jiu-Jitsu basically finds its roots in the country of Japan. It's based very much on systems of martial art that evolved from China, from Korea, from India. Most of these martial arts styles migrated eventually to Japan, which was ironically one of the last of the Asian countries to begin studying the systems and refining the systems. Ultimately, most of the martial arts of feudal Japan focused around the use of weapons. Originally, that was the primary martial arts style. The use of weapons were restricted to the samurai class at one time in order to be able to fend against armed warriors. Naturally, unarmed systems had to develop. This is where the essence of unarmed jiu-jitsu evolved. So ultimately, what really distinguishes the martial arts style of Jiu-Jitsu from other martial arts is the way in which it's practiced, the way in which the response to the attack is performed. Much of the basis of Jiu-Jitsu is on movement, body movement. So blocking and moving against attacks that come in, being able to move in close to an opponent, engage them, thereby being able to apply a throw by taking their balance, by manipulating their balance, by adjusting your posture. To be able to execute a locking technique. When we talk about locking techniques, we're talking about positioning the opponent's body such that the joint is being manipulated in a direction it's not meant to go. These come in the form of wrist locks, arm locks, leg locks, head locks. There's a number of different body parts that form the locking systems. Other systems within Jiu-Jitsu include groundwork, ground defenses, learning how to deal with scenarios on the ground. What distinguishes Shorinji-kan Jiu-Jitsu from the other styles of Jiu-Jitsu that are currently taught in the West isn't necessarily the way the techniques are practiced, nor the selection of techniques within the curriculum. It's how the techniques are performed and how they're taught. Techniques within Shorinji-kan are taught very intensely. The attitude the student is expected to adopt is the attitude of survival. It's the attitude of not giving up under any circumstances. Being able to control one's emotions, control one's movements within a strenuous scenario. There's a throw that in Japanese is called osotogari, okay, which means major out of reap. Osotogari is essentially blocking a moving technique, which the individual launches an attack such as a punch towards the responder. The responder moves out of the way by blocking and parrying and instantly takes control of the individual. Control is done by taking hold of the attacking arm. From there, positioning the hand against the chin, drawing the balance backwards. The technique is finished essentially by the responder moving through the attacker and reaping the leg, thereby completing the technique. Another form of body movement is kuzushi. Kuzushi is as much about moving your own body as it is the opponent. Kuzushi is practiced in the form of a kata, which is a formalized series of movements. The individual taking control is known as tori. The individual being controlled is uki. Tori takes hold of uki and directs them in the 8 different directions of balance. Okay? Forwards, backwards, side to side, and then the forward and backward diagonals on either side. So this is a total of 8 movements. Learning kuzushi is essential to understanding how to execute throws correctly. When we talk about advanced techniques, we're talking about an understanding, a more acute understanding of movements, understanding of contact, understanding of energy work, understanding of basically the psychology behind jiu-jitsu. So in the more advanced stages, throwing techniques become a lot more subtle. We look for students to understand not how to do the throw, but why they do the throw. So it's about understanding posture in its most subtle elements. It's understanding balance, understanding the interaction between forces. So the force is being applied against you and your reciprocal response to that force. Ultimately, understanding jiu-jitsu is understanding that it is a system of movement, whether they be beginning or advanced techniques. When a technique is done, the technique should be done as though it's the last time it'll ever be done, by you or by anybody. So embracing that living in the moment mentality, embracing what it is that you're doing each moment, is one of the important aspects of our philosophy. If we anticipate what could happen, if we worry about what could happen, if we try too much to control what is happening instead of listening to what's happening, responding to what's happening, then more often than not we'll fail in what it is that we're trying to achieve. So much of the philosophy of our style of martial art is engaging the moment.
What I love about jiu-jitsu is that it embodies everything you run into in the real world.
For me, jiu-jitsu was everything that I had learned to like about the previous martial arts I'd been involved in, and then a whole bunch of different training that increased my flexibility and increased the things that I was capable of.
Something amazing about training within a dojo is that you don't have time to think, and that's the best way to train, and it's maybe the best way to sum up what jiu-jitsu is all about.
It's something that can become a way of life. It's something that we can apply interchangeably with other experiences that we have.